want to welcome you all to the first of many presentations and gatherings that we plan on doing it from Pathways to Properties. My name is Pamela Harris. I am one of the co-founders of P2P, and the purpose of our group is so that we can help expose, elevate, and empower our community in real estate. And I would like to invite you all to join us, like us, follow us on social media. If you haven't already joined our website, we would love for you to be a part of that so that you can receive the latest information about what's happening in the market, what we're doing in the market, and just staying abreast of the latest things that are going on.
We're going to go on ahead and get started with the presentation. Now, I briefly mentioned 2008, and most of us remember what happened at that point in time with the housing market. It was kind of very, very similar, almost mirroring what we're experiencing now. As a matter of fact, I don't think that there's been a time since 2008 that the market has faced the challenges that can potentially unfold here over the next couple of months. Inflation sky high, interest rates are going up, but believe it or not, most investors are excited and planning and looking forward to the potential opportunities that can come our way. Now is actually the time to start planning ahead and start lining up funds before you need them so that when the opportunities come, you can take advantage of them. A lot of people missed out in the 2008. And let's be honest, in real estate, just like with anything, it takes money to make money. Am I sharing my screen?
No.
Okay, let me share my screen. I was on a roll too, y'all. Man. Let me make sure I share my screen because y'all don't want to just be seeing me and my voice. So yeah, like I was saying, what's going to happen here coming soon is that there will be new opportunities that we can take advantage of. But for most of us, that would mean that we're also going to have new sources of capital. I mean, let's face it, it takes money to make money. And in most downturns, those with money are the ones that's able to take advantage. Thus, the saying, the rich gets richer and the poor stays poor. So the good news is that there are many different financing resources available. Some are more conventional than others. Some might require you to get very creative with how the deal is put together. And these are some of the strategies that we will be covering today. I will not be discussing how to structure the deals or how to implement these strategies. You know, that would be future calls. But rather, I just want to introduce you to the options that are available, and so you can know what other ways that you can raise funds for your real estate deal. Fair enough? Okay. So one of my favorite terms is OPM. A lot of people like to say OPP, but mine is other people's money. That is the name of the game. As investors, we gotta learn how to leverage other people's time. We gotta learn how to leverage other people's money. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of go over some of the strategies that I use and some of the things that we can do to actually take down these real estate deals. One of the first ones that we're going to talk about is hard money. Hard money, HML. A lot of people say that it's hard money because it's actually based on the asset itself and not necessarily the credit profile of the person. I like to say it's hard money because to me it kind of reminds me back in the day when you had to go to a shark loan and if you didn't pay they kind of bust your kneecap. Hard money can be the same way. They're typically expensive. They charge lots of points. Origination points are high. They're short-term bridge loans, typically no more than 12 months. If you do need to go longer than 12 months, you're only paying more points. If you don't pay, they will take your property. And they typically require, minimum loan of $100,000. They want to have 6 months reserves. They want to have experience, and even a credit score of at least 660 and higher, plus reserves. I'm actually quoting loans now where we need $60,000 in reserves before the loan to even get qualified. And to me, that is what makes it, hard money. So the thing to remember in dealing with a hard money lender is you want to get with the right broker who has access to numerous different programs that they can find the right program to fit your individual needs. There are programs out there that are 100% purchase and rehab, no credit score, no experiences needed. But an experienced broker will have to go through the due diligence to make sure that they're lined up with those lenders that can give us those more favorable terms, favorable rates, and not, taking all of our money out of the bank to get the deal done. Okay? Another thing with a lot of people where they're not able to take advantage of hard money is they may not be able to qualify, meet those requirements like the reserves, like the credit, or having the experience. So here's a bonus for those, especially people that are new. You can actually joint venture or team up with a credit partner or an experienced partner or someone that can even bring funds to the deal. And for those that may have the experience or you may have good credit, this is actually an opportunity for you to make money. I've made tens of thousands of dollars over the years just being a credit partner on somebody's deal or just being providing the experience or somebody's deal. So that's just a ninja tip. If you don't have those requirements yourself, look into partnering with somebody that can help you overcome those obstacles. Or follow up with like one of our affiliate partners at Burr Funding Solutions. They have a lot of programs that will overcome those obstacles that will help you get into a hard money loan. Okay. Another one of my favorite ways of doing real estate deals, which is very, very common, especially in the wholesaling realm, is joint venturing. With joint venturing, you can bring the deal and you will have a partner that will bring 100% of the funds and you would just split the profits on the back end. Now, the good thing about this is that there are actually lenders that will do this. So if you cannot find an individual to joint venture with you on that level, there are actually lending programs out there that's even available, even in the commercial multifamily space, that is open to joint venturing or doing some type of an equity share where they bring the funds, you bring the deal, and you'll split the profits on the back end. Let's see. Seller carryback or owner financing. Now, this is actually a creative deal structuring where the seller of the home acts as the bank themselves. This is very favorable if you do have credit challenges. It can also be very favorable if you have limited resources, because this will allow you to not have to bring so much money to the table depending on how the deal is structured. As a matter of fact, it's important to know that you do not have to get a homeowner to agree to 100% of the financing. As a matter of fact, I'm doing a loan right now where we just negotiated where the seller carry back or hold $30,000, but at closing, they're crediting that $30,000 back to us at closing. And what that $30,000 is going to do is cover all of the closing costs as well as the down payment that was needed to get that loan. So basically, we're getting the property without having to come with any out-of-pocket cost. And then once the property is rehabbed and the refinance is done, then that is when the seller will be paid off. And another thing with owner financing, seller carryback, is that you typically can get better terms, lower interest rates, or no interest rates at all. This particular deal right here, they're not charging any interest. I had another property I bought in Ohio, owner finance. There was no interest, and you can control the payments, what you put down on a down payment, and even how long you have to pay that property back. So seller financing, seller carryback is a very, very good creative way to structure deals to work in your favor. Something else that's very similar is buying subject to. This is basically buying subject to the existing loan that's on the house. Basically, whatever the loan is on the house right now, you're just taking it over and you're taking it over the payments. With these historically low rates that have taken place here in the last few years, 3 years from now, you may have homeowners that are going to be in certain situations where they're going to need to sell their house. But you're going to look and say, wow, your interest rate is only 3%. Your payment is only, $600 for this, $180,000 house. Let me take over your existing mortgage so I can keep that low interest rate and those low payments intact. And that's the beauty of buying a property subject to. Plus, it also reduces the amount of money that you have to come out of pocket with. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. HELOC, home equity line of credit. This is a great way if you have your own personal home that has a lot of credit. And like right now, like me, for instance, I'm sitting on a considerable amount of credit equity in my home. So a lot of people are. A lot of people want to sell their house, but then the price to buy something else is so high as well. But if you can tap into the equity that you have in your existing home, you can use that equity to purchase an additional investment properties. And a HELOC typically has more favorable terms and is cheaper than doing a cash out refi. And it actually works like a line of credit, meaning you can do it, you can buy your property, you can pay it down. And what that does is that allows you to have better control over the leverage of debt versus if you do a refinance and say you get all your $100,000 and you're paying $800 a month, your payment is going to stay at $800 a month, even when you only owe $20,000 left on the loan. With a HELOC, as you pay it off, your payments to go back down, or you can pay it off completely, and then when you're ready to step into your next investment property, you can, just draw on that line of credit again. So I really, really like HELOCs, especially when it comes to being able to acquire investment properties. There are also RELOCs out there, not as common, harder to qualify for, and in today's market, they probably don't exist at this time, but it basically is the same type of product, but it's for an investment or a rental home that you may own versus your primary property. And another advantage of these is that interest is still tax deductible, even if you pull it out to buy an investment property, or even if you pull it out to buy a car, because it is still a mortgage loan, so the interest is tax deductible. So that's another advantage of HELOCs. Credit card advances. Now, this is something to use when you just got to do what you got to do to get the deal done. And I don't know about y'all, but I've been there, right? Credit cards, using your credit cards can be a good strategy, though, if you can especially take advantage of maybe opening up new lines and taking advantage of, a lot of the 0% introductory rates, which oftentimes are good for up to a year, even 18 months. You also can do the same thing for business lines of credit, and there are companies out there that will help you get business credit cards that also comes with that low introductory rate, and will not affect your personal DTI. So this is something that I would use when you just gotta, you gotta do what you gotta do. You need $20,000 to get this down payment to get this house done. Do what you gotta do and pay it off, or get your 0% interest and just keep running until your interest payment ends. And we're actually, personally, I'm personally taking advantage of this strategy now, but just using the 0% for administrative marketing, things of that nature. Personal loans. It's almost the same as, using a credit card, but maybe you got to go to the bank. Maybe you got to go to a credit union. You just need to do what you need to do to, get your foot in, get your property, and start getting that ball rolling. So personal loans really comes down to, the best advice I have with personal loans is it really comes down to having a good relationship with a bank. Work with smaller banks, work with credit unions, work with someone that's not going to just view you as a loan application, but can really, really, really try to get some type of personal relationship with this particular lender. And that's very important. And having a good lender and a good source of funding that will grow with you even as your assets grow, even as you move from single family into a multifamily. Having those relationships with banks and being able to acquire that type of funding really, really go a long way. Um, Next is self-directed IRA. Self-directed IRA is very, very, very similar to a 401k, except instead of the 401k being in control of your money and telling you that you have to buy this stock and that stock and whatever the case may be, you're allowed to invest, you're in control over, and you can invest in it how you want to. Thus the term self-directed. Another good thing about self-directed IRAs, you do get to take advantage of tax deferment, tax strategies. As you're getting those profits from the deals, it rolls back into your self-directed IRA account, and that capital gains tax is deferred. So self-directed, it doesn't just have to be real estate. You can use this to do private loans as well. You can buy pretty much anything that you want to with it, which is another reason why I really like having a self-directed IRA. But a lot of people do, of course, use it to acquire real estate. Okay. Cross collateralization of currently owned properties, and this can be whether it's a rental property and or some lenders will allow you to use your primary, but really taking out the HELOC is kind of cross collateralizing your property. Two main strategies here that comes to mind is the BRRRR method. If y'all are familiar with the BRRRR method, buy, rehab, rent, and then refinance. And then what you do is once you do that refinance, you pull out that capital and then you roll it into another property. And you do the same thing, rinse and repeat. Then you pull out that capital and you roll into another property. So you could potentially start with $20,000, get that first property, get it rehab, get it refinanced, pull out that capital, and in a year's time frame, you can have acquired, 10 properties with that initial $20,000 investment. But for those that maybe have a property and you do not want to go through the refinance, there are loans there that would literally just allow you to use your property as collateral. This is very, very common, especially when you're dealing with commercial multifamily loans. Say you have a portfolio of 5 properties to where you can just use that property and they will, take liens out and they will take into account the equity that's in those properties. And if you default, they will take your property. But the thing that I like about doing the cross collateralization of the actual property itself is that you do not have to go through the cost of doing that refinance, and that would save you some equity because you're not going to be losing the equity because you have to pay for a refinance loan, and you also won't have that debt service from pulling out the capital, and then you have a refinance loan that you're paying back. So that is definitely something when you're talking with different brokers to see if they are familiar and they have access to cross collateralization loans, right? And then last but not least, my favorite OPM, other people's money, it's private lenders. And if y'all was paying attention, we actually have someone who likes to be a private lender right here on the call. With a private lender, you work with maybe a coworker, maybe someone that have a self-directed IRA. Maybe they just have some money sitting in the bank, and they actually fund the loan. They actually are the lender for you. And the reason why I like private lenders, especially compared to hard money loans, they're typically cheaper, less requirement, less red tape. more flexibility. You have more control in how you can structure the loan. And if you can get good private lenders and start doing some deals, a lot of them will do repeated deals with you over and over again. Okay? So that is a high level overview of all of the various ways that we can get funding for our deals. If there's anything that you are in need of immediately, reach out to me. I can get you in touch with our Burr affiliate funding partner. If you're in need of a hard money loan, even have access to residential lender if you're looking to purchase your primary home as
Everybody
well.
to send us an email at pathwaystoproperties@gmail.com. You see it on the screen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the phone number, definitely jot our number down there. I think that's Jajuan's number. Write it down. Before you move that slide, everybody, please join us, follow us, like us on P2P. If you're on social media, definitely make sure you follow us. We appreciate it. That helps us to get the word out to more people.
Absolutely.
Okay.